Hello. Welcome to another installment of the Central American Group's podcast, in which experts discuss topics related to doing business in Costa Rica, El Salvador, and the rest of the region.
Welcome to an installation of podcasts by the Central American Group. We're very pleased that you could be with us today, and we have a guest that's going to give us some information that hopefully you'll find to be both interesting and useful. Today we have with us Carlos Zacapa, and Carlos is the Executive Director of the Green Park in Costa Rica. How are you doing today, Carlos?
Hello, Steve. Everything well, thank you. How about you?
Doing fine, thanks. Basically, we're going to ask you a few questions about the Green Park, and you can tell us about that. But first of all, could you give us some background on the Central American Group?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Well, the Central American Group is a group of companies that have been functioning since about 1950s. We are in different sectors. Basically, we have real estate development, free zone, and industrial park development as well. We do logistics and 3PLs and different parts of Central America.
Okay, today what we're going to focus on, however, is your involvement in free zone development in Costa Rica. Can you tell us a little bit about the group's experience in free zone development?
Sure. Actually, our group started industrial park development in 1985 in El Salvador. Basically, we started with what is now it's Parque Industrial San Marcos. Then we continued to develop the free zone law in El Salvador and started in 1990 with what is now the San Marcos free zone.
You know, one thing, we don't want to take people's knowledge for granted. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what a free zone exactly is for those of the viewers and listeners who might not know.
Sure. Basically, a free zone regime in Central America is offering tax-exempt locations for companies who are interested in manufacturing and exporting their goods to other countries. Our main, let's say, our main client would be the U.S. market.
You know, I know that El Salvador and Costa Rica, in terms of economic profiles, are very different, but could you tell us a little bit about what kind of industry is in El Salvador and also what kind of industry is in Costa Rica?
Sure. El Salvador has been characterized basically now for light manufacturing, let's say textiles, full package textiles now. We have a synthetic cluster already established, very, very strong, the only one in Central America. We also have logistics coming along in El Salvador, as well as distribution centers, regional distribution centers for companies who want to distribute to the whole Central American region from one country.
Okay.
In Costa Rica, it's a little bit more technological. Basically, it's on advanced manufacturing and medical device manufacturing.
And what is the experience that the Central American Group in particular has been? What is the experience in developing free zones?
As I was saying, we started in 1990. We started the development of San Marcos Free Zone in El Salvador. That one is about 600,000 square feet under roof. Right now, in 1998, we started development, which is the International Free Zone in El Salvador. That one has about 1.3 million square feet under roof. And now we started in 2016, we started developing, which is what is now the Green Park here in Costa Rica. And this one will be about 600,000 square feet under roof as well. However, it's just starting. We're starting operations basically this month. So right now, what we have built is about 20% of the free zone as we speak.
Okay. So why did you choose Costa Rica as a place to put the Green Park in as opposed to any other country in Central America?
We actually explored two countries because, let's say, Honduras, Nicaragua, Guatemala, and El Salvador do basically the same industries, and we wanted to go a little bit on a different type of industry, a little bit higher in technology. We actually looked at Panama and Costa Rica. At the end of the day, we felt more comfortable with Costa Rica because it's more focused on what is manufacturing, and Panama is more of a service industry. We believe manufacturing industry will be a little bit more stable. That's our experience in El Salvador, and that's one of the main reasons why we decided to come to Costa Rica. As well, yes.
One other question I'd like to ask with respect to Costa Rica, we know that countries that are looking to produce offshore, they often choose a place like Mexico, for instance. Mexico is sold to consumers in terms of industry in the U.S. on the basis of advantageous rate of labor, but Costa Rica has a different selling point. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, definitely. Costa Rica selling point will be much more on the qualified labor force that there is here in Costa Rica. You have a very highly educated amount of people, and right now, let's say, since what Intel did with all the electronics in Costa Rica, that helped a lot to build up a labor force more technified. From that, it gave, let's say, jumped to the medical device manufacturer, right? Which has actually started since Baxter in 1985. Now, let's say, probably 10 of the 20 more important companies in the world are already established here. And they have a very good basis on all their suppliers and everything established in Costa Rica. So basically, their selling point would be that more of a qualified labor force, political stability, and economic stability in Central America.
Well, you've explained a little bit about what makes Costa Rica a good place for businesses to set up operations. Can you tell us a little bit about what makes the Green Park Free Zone different from other free zones in the region?
Sure. Well, the Green Park is part of the Central American group, which is we are a vertically integrated group. Basically, we do everything. So we can handle all the construction. I mean, from the land movement, construction, and everything. We can deliver buildings as a build to suit with all the confidence and all the experiences we have since 1985 doing this. So that is one of it. The Green Park is not a huge park. It's a park that will have basically between 15 to 18 tenants, which we believe we can give very, very personalized attention. And that'll be another one. We also build and administrate our parks ourselves. We do not give to somebody else to administrate the parks or the free zones. We do everything ourselves. So our response time on everything, maintenance, anything a client may need is basically immediately.
Well, basically, one of the things that strikes me is just the name of the Green Park. Why did you choose that name?
Why do we choose the Green Park? Okay. Well, first of all, the Green Park has all this kind of environmental certifications. That is basically our flag. We are already EDGE certified. We are in the process of being LEED certified. Probably by the end of the year, we should have the LEED certification on hand. We also are Essential Costa Rica certificated, which is the country brand. We already have that. So the difference is we were basically born green. We're not adapted to be green, right? We are everything. All our buildings are LEED designed, which makes them efficient. If a company wants to pursue a LEED certification on their operation, they already have a head start on it. We do sustainable construction. We make sure we separate residues. Everything that is bought for the building, we make sure it's separated and treated in the way and disposed in the correct way. In the infrastructure, we have what we call eco or green sidewalks, which are permeable sidewalks. Make sure all the rainwater goes back into the ground. We have zero hydrological impact in the park. We control all rainwater going into what we call retention ponds and make sure we deposit that in the same amount of water to the river, the same amount of water that it received before the development started. Everything is under LED illumination. We are under also starting the process of a neutral carbon certification as well. And we are using some water collection systems in the buildings that can be used. You can collect water, rainwater from the roofs to use into your consumption for your bathrooms, let's say. So what we're aiming at is a lot of sustainability.
Well, Costa Rica is known for its attention to environmental issues, so it sounds like you're in line with what's happening in the country. You mentioned that the Green Park is, in addition to being green, human. What do you mean by that?
Well, our philosophy in the Central American group is that we are not just here to do business, but we believe we have to give back to the community. So what we have done is we have a social responsibility committee, well, basically a social responsibility program, right? We help kids in the community which are in endangered areas, and what we mean by endangered areas are not only social risks, but also drugs and all these kind of things, or inclusive, let's say, possible situations which they might be endangered. We try and keep these kids away from this type of environments through our program, which is basically through sports. Sports and soccer, basically, it's very, very big in Costa Rica. So we have teamed up with a leader in these communities who actually trains them, and we help them out with principles. We give them talks. We make sure they learn how to be a team, how to take care of each other, not only inside the team but outside in their communities. And what we want to do is help these kids to have a better life in the future. How are we doing this? We have volunteers, not only from our administration. Our idea is to involve other companies in the free zone to this program. And this goes two ways, because we believe we have to step out of our bubble and realize what reality is outside. So this is getting not only our people, but the people from our clients here more conscious about social responsibility. And this helps us, this helps them. We don't only help the kids, but we help ourselves in this. And I think this is probably a unique focus that we are pursuing.
Well, basically, it sounds like you've got a good approach there. You've got all the infrastructure as far as the physical needs of companies, and you're working to develop the human infrastructure. If somebody wants to get in touch with you and ask you some more questions, is there an email address that they can send a message to you at?
Sure. It's C from Carlos, Z from Zoo, ACAPA at thegreenparkfc.com.
Okay, Carlos, thank you very much for taking time to speak with us this morning. We appreciate that. We wish you good luck now and in the future.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you for listening.
Bye now.
Sign up to receive the Central American Group's quarterly newsletter by visiting www.thecentralamericangroup.com.